Hello, good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep and welcome to the session with me. We'll be talking about how to analyze a mock test. Probably the most pertinent question nowadays for the CAT aspirants as the exam is getting closer. So, we are, of course, getting worried about it that how do we write mocks, how do we analyze them well, how do we take out the maximum out of it. So that's what we are going to discuss in our today's class as well. So before I start, please confirm it once. Is everything fine? Am I audible? Am I visible to all of you? Can you all please confirm it to me once? Is everything okay? After that, we will start with our class then. A very good afternoon to all of you again. So I hope everything is fine. You all can hear me. You all can see me. I mean, as far as I can see, everything is okay. Okay. But yes, if I see some good afternoons or see some yeses or nos in the chat box, that will be better. Tilak is saying everything is fine. Thank you very much, Tilak. Thank you. So I hope it is okay. Yes. So whenever any student comes to us and he says that, okay, sir, I want to prepare for CAT, I am not getting very good scores in mocks, so what should I do? Right? I am weak at mathematics, what should I do? I have a fear of CAT, I mean, probably I would not be able to score good in the exam. What should I do? When I am sitting in the exam, I get nervous. What should I do? I'm losing my confidence. For all these questions, normally, one common answer that is acceptable to all of them is write your mocks and analyze them well. Without the analysis, writing the mocks would not help you at all. So analysis is the more important part here rather than writing the mock itself. And that's what we are going to discuss. How do we analyze the test? Analyze karna kaise hai? How do we analyze it? Which is the most important question here. So you keep saying that, okay, you have to analyze, you have to analyze, you have to analyze. What do you mean by analysis? We have the paper in front of us. We have already appeared for this paper. We have got these many marks in quantitative ability, LRDI, verbal ability. So, okay, we have got these marks. What next? What more should I do now, right? After this, what can be done? So, that's a big question that we have in our mind. That's what we are going to discuss in this class. Okay. So, good afternoon, education world. Good afternoon, noob gamer. Okay. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to everyone else as well who is able to see me. I hope we can start with our class now without any further delay. Let's start with it. The first thing first. The first thing is you should know what are you preparing for. Okay. So of course you would say, sir, we know we are preparing for CAT or the other MBA entrance examinations. But sometimes I have seen students have no idea about it, at what score or percentile they will be getting, that what is their target. Most of the times the target of the students is that, okay, I want to do very good in the exam. That is not the target. I want to do very good in the exam, because that will not take you anywhere unless and until I exactly know where do I have to reach. I probably would not be able to fare that well in the exam. So first of all, you should know that what exactly is your target, what score or what percentile or what college is there that you are targeting. That is the first most important thing for you. So that's what I have put over here on the very first slide, that at what score, what percentiles are you getting. Now, what is the percentile that you should be looking for? We will be talking about that as well in this session only in the later stages. But these are the data for the last few years from 2021 to 2016. At what score, what percentile people got. Now, these are the data for the last 6 years, but of course, for us, not all the 6 years are important, because now as the CAT notification is out, all of you would be knowing it, the exam is of 2 hours. So if it is going to be a 2-hour exam, all three sections are of 40 minutes. So of course, CAT 2019 or before that, they become slightly irrelevant for us. I am saying slightly irrelevant only from the perspective of the paper pattern. Of course, the questions are still relevant for us. But from the paper patterns perspective, or the percentile versus score perspective, I think the most important years for us are the last 2 years, 2021 and 2020. Because in these 2 years, the exam was of 2 hours and all three sections had 40 minutes each. So therefore, I would be paying more attention towards these two only. Okay. So we shall be talking about these two here, that is CAT 2021 and CAT 2020. I hope you all are getting my point here, whatever I'm trying to say. So now, at 99.9 percentile, what score was needed? At 107, at 99.95 5 percentile, what score was needed? At 99 percentile, what score was needed? So that's all that I am talking about here in CAT 2021 or 2020 or 2019 and all. Just focus upon these 2 years, 2021 and 2020. Rather, I would say you should be paying more attention to CAT 2021. My simple reason is, though currently we don't know that how many questions are going to be there in the exam, but yes, one thing probably we all can say, that is that CAT 2021 probably was more thought of paper with respect to CAT 2020. 2020 was because of the COVID situation. Suddenly they had to reduce the time duration from 3 hours to 2 hours. But 2021 mein then they thought probably yes, we should be giving less number of questions. We have given more questions in 2020, which is not good. And that way they decided that okay, we will be going with lesser number of questions in CAT 2021. So most probably this year's pattern would also be almost of the same type as that of CAT 2021. So in 2021, you had 99.9 percentile at a score of 120, a 99.5 percentile at a score of 107, a 99 percentile was at a score of 97, 95 at a score of 71. Of course, if you divide them by 3, you just divide them by 3, you would automatically get to know how many questions were there that could have fetched this percentile for you, right? How many questions could have fetched you this percentile? You can get it by dividing with 3. So of course, I'll be talking about this more in detail in the later stages. Okay. But is there anyone who is having a question till this stage? I mean, I don't see any messages in the chat box. Just say anything in the chat box so that I know that you guys are listening to me and you are able to hear me. Everything is okay. Just confirm that once. Can you all please confirm it once? Is everything okay? I am audible. There are no questions as such to anyone. I mean, all of you are able to hear me. All of you can understand whatever I am talking about. Yes? Should I assume that? Just answer this once. Vidhi Sethi says yes. So I see a yes from Vidhi Sethi at least. So I'm expecting a few more answers if possible. Yes, Tilak says yes. Noob Gamer says yes. Ayush Contractor says yes. So, okay. Now I can say that say there are some people. So let's move ahead from here. Now this was about the overall thing. Now I'll move on to the more specific thing now. First of all, let's start with VARC. So what has happened in VARC in the last 2 years? This is the data that I have maintained over here, that in CAT 2021, a 99.5 percentile was at a score of 49 to 50, a 99 was at 45, 95 at 34, 35, 90 at 29, and 80 at 21. Important point here is that I want to discuss with all of you is this thing. The number of questions needed 16 to 17, 15, 11 to 12, 9 to 10 or 7, and ultimately keep one thing in mind, the section was of 40 minutes and it had a total of 24 questions. Now, as I said initially, for different people, there can be different targets. Some of you might be targeting 99.5 percentile. Some of you might be targeting 95. Some of you might be targeting 90. Though I am pretty sure that no one would be targeting something below 80, right? 80 is the minimum that anyone would be targeting. Though, in my opinion, you should not be targeting anything below 90. In my opinion, you should not be targeting anything below 90. I am talking to all those people who are currently getting 1 percentile to 70, 75 percentile in their mock. So even if you are currently getting 70 percentile in the mock, probably your target in CAT should be 90 percentile. For the people who are between 70 and 80 currently in mocks, probably their target should be slightly more like 95. 80 to 90 वालों का जो target है, that should be somewhere around 97, 98, and that way you should decide that what percentile are you targeting. So for all the people who are currently targeting 80 or less, I would say probably that's not good. Just try to do a little bit more of hard work and you would be able to reach there. And I'll tell you these figures. To get an 80 percentile, you just had to do 7 questions in VARC out of 24 questions. and that too in 40 minutes. Can I say it is doable? I mean, definitely doable. Can't I do just 7 right questions in 40 minutes? Isn't that possible? Even if I am not able to do any question till now in VARC, I am saying even that person can target something like this. That okay, even I can target a score like this. Even I can target that okay, I should be doing 7 questions in 20 out of 24 questions in 40 minutes. That should be the target. Everyone can do that, right? But yes, a person who is decent enough in verbal ability and reading comprehension, I would say the target should be somewhere around 95, which means 11 to 12 questions out of 24. For a person who is pretty good at it, जो मानते हैं कि this is a strength area, for those probably a target score should be this. Now, these are all the things that I am saying with respect to CAT 2021. But no one knows what is going to be the pattern. It can be of the type CAT 2020 as well. So, of course, the figures for CAT 2020 are these. Now, you will see something peculiar over here. Even this year, the section was of 40 minutes, but you had 26 questions in verbal ability, right? You had 26 questions in verbal ability. Now, 26 questions were there, and I see more questions were there, but still the 99.5 percentile was at a score lower than that of 2021. More questions, लेकिन still lower पे आ जाता है. Same was the case with 99, same was the case with 95 or 90, and 80 or 90 was approximately the same. That tells you that probably verbal ability was slightly more on the tougher side in 2020 with respect to 2021, and here it is slightly tougher, right? Though there is a possibility it might be so much tougher than 2021 that the cutoff for 99.5, sorry, the score for 99.5 can be 11 to 12 instead of 16, 17. So there can be this much of difference as well. So I would always say to all my students, be prepared for any such kind of surprises. That is a possibility. The exam might be so tough that you have a figure in your mind that okay, I have already thought of, I am going to get 16 questions or 14 questions in VARC, but this year VARC was so tough, no one was able to do 14, 15 questions. And you would probably start sweating at that time that I had kept this figure in my mind. I'm not even close to that. I'm able to do only 10 questions. Probably I'm not able to do good. Every other person is doing good because you don't know how are other people faring actually in the exam. So at that very moment, you start feeling low confident, you start feeling nervous, and that not only screws your VRC section, it also screws your GILR and then followed by quantitative ability as well. So please keep that in mind. You have to be ready with all kind of surprises. You just don't have to lose your heart even if you are not able to do questions. Keep it in mind. If you are not able to do questions, no one else would be able to do them because you are you, right? You were exactly the same person who was there in the mocks as well. If you were able to do questions there, you should be able to do them here as well. If you are not able to do, probably that will be the story with everyone. Those things should always be kept in mind. This is the first thing about VARC. Let's move on to LRDI now. Now, when I talk about LRDI, these figures are pretty lower with respect to VARC, you would see. To get a 99.5 percentile, you just had to do 12 to 13 questions, though there is a, disclaimer over here. Though the section was of 40 minutes, but we had only 20 questions. Whereas the year before that, 40-minute section, but we had a total of 24 questions. So now I see a 99.5 percentile was at 12 to 13 questions out of 20 questions. A 99 was at 11. A 95 was at 8 to 9. 90 was at 6 to 7 and 80 was at 4 to 5. Now, if I look at the type of questions that were there, we had two sets of 6 questions each and we had two sets of 4 questions each. A person who would have targeted only these two sets of 4 questions each probably would have reached at this point and he would have got 95 percentile. Isn't that correct? Are you getting my point? Just by doing two sets of 4 questions each. Just you, now I want this to hear from you. Is it correct or not? When you write a mock and when you are appearing for LRDA section, isn't it in your mind that I would just try to do each and every set? And I would try to do as maximum possible, right? Ultimately, I end up doing probably 6, 7 questions and I lose my heart. Isn't that the problem with each one of you? And later on, we always cry that probably we are scoring very less in the section. I would say that's your mistake. You are not going with the proper strategy. Currently, if you are only getting 5 to 6 questions in LRDI, your first target should be to get 8 questions. Just think of this that, okay, I will just try to do 8 questions in the exam. That can be 2 sets of 4 questions each. It can be 1 set of 4 questions. It can be 1 set of 6 questions. There might be possible you might to do 3 or 4 questions from 1 set of 6 questions, 3 or 4 questions from the other set of 6 questions. But keep some target in your mind. Do not do random things. That is always going to probably hamper your performance in the exam. Am I correct that way? I would want to hear it from all of you guys. Is that right? Is that happening with us as well? That whenever we are writing the exam, we think of something else, we end up doing something else, and there actually we lose our heart, and there actually our QA also went bad, right? Because we performed badly in LRDI as per our standards, so QA bhi kharab ho jata hai. But these figures are authentic figures, actual figures, not the made up figures, and they are telling you in CAT 95% of the people could do only 8 questions. 95% of the people. This might be a dream percentile for many of you. That in LRDA somehow I get 95%, I'll feel good about it. Probably for some people it might be an okay percentile. They must be targeting 99 or 99.5. But for many of you it would be like 95 is a dream percentile. That can be done by just doing 2 sets of 4 questions. And if you see CAT 2020, even that year, these figures were almost the same. Look at these. 95 percentile was again at 8 to 9 questions. 99 was again at around 11 questions. 90 was again 6 to 7 questions. Almost the same figures, even if we had 4 extra questions that year. We had 2 sets of 6 questions and 3 sets of 4 questions. So just keep your figures in mind. Where are you good? Where are you bad? Accordingly decide what do I need to do. That was about LRDI. Then comes to the third section, which is QA. Now, when I talk about QA here, a 99.5 percentile was at 13 to 14 questions, 99 at 11 to 12, 24 at 8, 17 पे 90 आ रहा है आपका, 12 पे 80. Now, there is one very important point that you can notice over here. At just 4 questions, you get an 80 percentile. Whereas at 13 to 14 questions, you are getting 99.5. Rather, यहाँ से यहाँ भी अगर आप देखो 4 to 8, just 4 questions can take you. I mean, total में से 4 questions कीजिए, you get 80 percentile from 0. And 80 to 95, सिर्फ 15 percentile can be covered by doing 4 questions, right? That means most of the people are so afraid of mathematics, they are not even able to do 4 questions. And these are the figures again in 40 minutes when you had a total of 22 questions. Is it that difficult? क्या 22 में से मैं 4 questions नहीं कर सकता? 80% of the students could not do 4 questions. In an exam where some of the questions were so basic, even you can do them today. अब मैं मजाक नहीं कर रहा हूँ. Just go back today, find out CAT 2021 paper का QA section निकालो. You will definitely find at least 5 to 6 questions which you can do today as well, even if you have not prepared for CAT. You get 90 percentile by that, but somehow we always have a fear of it कि नहीं कर पाएंगे. So just check your targets कि आप इसमें से क्या target कर रहे हैं, where do you stand, what do you want from the exam. So that's the most important part. So now comes the most important thing out of all of these, that what is your target? Okay, if you are targeting a college which is A++ category, I'm talking about an IIM A, B, C. This is the maximum percentile at which probably you would definitely get a call, right? I'm not saying कि 99.65 से नीचे call नहीं आता. People get a call from IIM Ahmedabad even at 90 percentile, even from general quota. That depends upon their profile as well, whether it is from arts background or commerce background or science background. गर्ल है बॉय है इससे भी फर्क पड़ता है. 10th और 12th के स्कोर्स कितने हैं उस पर भी डिपेंड करता है. बट मोर और लेस फॉर एन एवरेज गाय आई एम सेइंग 99.65 is something at which you can say that okay, I will get a call from IIM ABC. If your sectional percentile is clear, which is 85, pay attention to this as well. ध्यान से देखते रहिएगा. An A+ category college, a college like FMS, a college like probably IIT Bombay, a college like IIM Lucknow, IIM Indore. For those, a 99 percentile probably would suffice with a sectional percentile of 80. For an A grade college, a college like I would say MDI Gurgaon, a college like probably you can say NITI Bombay, right? So, or the newer IIMs probably at the 98th percentile with the sectional percentile of 80, you can say I will surely get a call. B plus category में आपके colleges आ जाते हैं, something like you can say IMT Ghaziabad, you can say IMA Delhi, or IIT Delhi. So these are some of the colleges for which you can say a 95 percentile would suffice. And B category colleges, there are many. So these are the colleges at least that I can expect, or at least I must target. इससे नीचे तो नहीं यार टारगेट करेंगे ना कुछ. आई वुड नॉट ट्राई टू गो टू अ कॉलेज विच इज प्रेटी लेस इन द रैंकिंग्स. ठीक है, जहां पे जाके मुझे ये भी सोचना पड़े कि पता नहीं मेरी प्लेसमेंट भी होगी या नहीं. एटलीस्ट वी आर श्योरली लुकिंग फॉर गेटिंग a good person, a good placement from the college, that from whichever college I'm going to pass out. So these are the targets that you have to keep in your mind. Now, what should be your target? That would depend upon your current profile. That would also depend upon currently whatever you are getting in CAT. So depends upon many things. MDI Murshidabad Education World, I would probably put in category B, right? Definitely not in B plus or A category. बी कैटेगरी में कहीं जाके आएगा. न्यू कॉलेज है तो वो बहुत ज्यादा कुछ बढ़िया कर भी नहीं रहा है. एमडीए गुड़गांव इज डेफिनेटली मच बेटर देन दैट. Now I've done an analysis for all of you. Just pay attention to this part. Now this is a very important slide for all of you, and I would like all of you to ask me some questions as well if you want to. Disha, I would always put Micah in a category of A college, but Micah is not taking CAT, so Micah takes their own exam, MyCAT. So therefore I am putting it there. I don't know whether in recent years they have changed it, but as far as I remember, last to last year probably they were taking their own exam of MyCAT. Otherwise, so there can be some other colleges like XLRI as well, right? जो उसमें category मैंने नाम नहीं लिया. Though SP Jain is definitely something which is an A plus category. Okay, KJ Somaya would be somewhere around in B category, slightly below that as well. Education World, that's possible. Now this is a screen that I have done a little bit research to tell you these figures. Just pay attention to all of them. Okay. Let's say a student is targeting 95 percentile. I'm talking about a student who is targeting 95. Let's say you are the person who is targeting 95 percentile. So what exactly are you targeting? You are targeting a score of 71, right? Which means approximately 23 to 24 questions. Now this 23 to 24 questions in two exams, right? Sorry, in the complete exam. Now 23-24 questions, it is not necessary that I do an equal number of questions from each paper, right? That's not necessary. There might be some people who are pretty good at some of the areas, but not that good in the other areas. So a person can target something like, let's say I can do 12 questions in QA. So I can get around 99 percentile in QA, but I'm not that good in LRDI. So I can target somewhere around 9 questions there. And I'm pretty bad at VARC. 12 plus 9, 21 is telling me that even if you get only 3 questions in VARC, you can get 95 percentile here. Keep that in mind. Okay? अभी कुछ बताऊंगा. 99 percentile in QA, 95 percentile in LRDI, and 3 questions means somewhere around 50 percentile in VARC can get you 95 percentile. But probably that 95 would be useless for you because you have not cleared the sectional cutoff of VARC, right? If I talk about the sectional cutoffs, at a 95 percentile, a college would be start asking you approximately 70 sectional cutoff. So just target 5 questions in VARC if you are not pretty good at it, right? And then target some 6 to 7 questions or 8 to 9 questions in here, 12 or 10 questions over here, and that can definitely take you to a 95 percentile. I am saying in that case, just analyze this, that how much score are you getting in these sections? Where are you not scoring good? Where are you scoring better? So just try to find out a score which can take you to 70 plus percentile in the sections such that your overall percentile would not be hit. So even if you score 5 questions in VARC, you would be above 70 percentile. After that, whatever you get in the other two, it does not make a difference. If your sectionals are clear, only the overall percentile matters. Similarly, a person who is targeting that, no, I am looking for 99 percentile, I am just, targeting the IIMs or FMS kind of colleges. So that person is targeting a score of 32, 33. Now that person is pretty good at VARC. He is sure that VARC he is going to get a good percentile. So he would be getting 16, 17 questions correct over here. So after doing 16, 17 here, and let's say not good at LRDI, but you have to have a sectional cutoff of 6 to 7 questions so that you are able to clear 90 percentile ka cutoff. 16, 17 there, 6, 7 here, that makes it around 23, 24. And after that, even if you do 11, 12 questions here, probably you can take you to more than 99 percentile. So my point here is that looking at your mocks, you can decide that, okay, this is what I am getting in my sections. This is where I can increase my score. This is where I am probably going slightly below the sectional cutoffs. So I am saying it is not necessary you have to get a balanced score in all the three. If you are getting it, nothing like that, right? उससे तो बढ़िया बात ही नहीं है. But if you are getting lower scores in one of the sections, probably still you can do it by just clearing the sectional cutoff of that particular section, increasing the scores in the other two, and that can take you through. If you just pay attention to this, a person who is very balanced, let's say he's doing 12 questions in VARC, getting 95 percentile, 9 questions in LRDI, getting 95 percentile, 8 questions in quant, getting 95 percentile, 12 plus 9, 21 plus 8, 29. This 29 can take him to somewhere around 98 percentile for sure. 95, 95, 95 in all three sections can take you to 98 percentile. You can definitely target an A or A plus grade college at this percentile, right? So a balanced person would be looking for a 95 percentile in all three, can surely take it to 98, 99, right? But a person who is not very good at one of these sections can try to maximize the scores in the other two sections. That's completely up to you. How do you look at it? Okay. Now, if I move ahead from here, currently whatever you are getting in your CAT mock, how does that relate to the actual exam? So this is what we have researched over the past few years. If you have a 50 percentile in mock, you get an overall 70 percentile in CAT, you can target that. Similarly, a 60 in mock is currently equivalent to 80 percentile in CAT. A 17 mock is currently equivalent to 87, 88 percentile in mock, and that way we have written all the others as well. So do not assume that whatever you are getting in your mock right now, this is exactly the percentile that you are going to get after the actual exam. That's not correct, right? If you are getting something low in your mock, still that can translate to a high percentile in the overall exam. That is quite much possible, very much possible. So that can be done as well. Okay. Come to the most important part now, for which this session has been designed. How do we analyze the mock finally? This is the first thing that is always needed that I just talked about till now. Because before starting with the analysis, I should know what I'm analyzing for, right? What is my target? Where do I have to go? What all I should actually look into the paper. So all these things, once you have done the way we have just discussed before, कि ये सारी चीजें हम लोगों ने देख ली हैं, उसके बाद क्या? Based on CAT score only we can apply for MyCAT exam. It's written on their side. So Disha, MyCAT has done that before as well. That they take CAT score as well as Z score as well as their own score as well. कि चलो CAT अच्छा नहीं हुआ तो आप MyCAT का एग्जाम भी दे सकते हो. So even that might be possible. This year also they might be doing this. तो ये हो सकता है ऐसा किया. So now comes the most important part of it, that how do you do the analysis of your paper. Now there are two kind of analysis that you would be doing. First is the question wise analysis, that in every section what do you need to do, and second, analysis from the perspective of the complete paper. I will be talking about both of them one by one, but before that you have to do something for me. Please do press the like button. Okay, do press the like button if you are finding out this session to be useful for you. Probably yesterday also when we had this session, I told many of the students that we are going to have this session at 3 p.m. today. I somehow gave the wrong timing. Later on, when I got to know that it's at 1 p.m. So I see that many students are absent because of that probably. Anyways, let's talk about it. They would be able to see the recorded session here. Now, question-wise analysis we have to talk about first. Okay. First of all, divide the questions into three categories. First, the one that you got right. Second, the ones that you got wrong. Third, that you did not attempt. Okay. So you have to check these three questions one by one. Now, what do we check in a question which I got right? What do we check in a question which I got wrong or did not attempt? Mostly I have seen students doing this. Sir, I have got it right, so what to analyze in this? No, even that has a lot many parts to be analyzed, right? Sir, I got it wrong. Probably this was not the question to be done. So what do I do in it? No, there also you have to learn something. So in each of these parts you can learn something. That's what we are going to discuss over here. Okay. Let's first talk about the questions that you got right. If you got the question right, the first thing you have to see, how much time did you spend on it? Did you spend time more than what was needed? Is there any alternate solution of the question possible? Right? Even if you got it right, you have to see, can I do this question by some shorter way? Can I use some options? Can I use some values? Can I visualize it? Was there any other way through which I could have reduced my time in the question? Check that for that question. First thing. Second, did you get it right or you just guessed it right? So sometimes people feel happy about it that we have got the question right, but actually they had guessed it and they were just lucky to get it right. If that is the case, I would say it is not a question which should be in the category of getting it right. It should be a question from these two categories, then, right? It should be analyzed thoroughly. You should not be happy about it because always your luck is not going to work. And what if you are at the worst luck of your day on the D day, on the cat day? What then? So you can't just go there, I mean, on the support of your luck, right? That should not be there. So I am saying that if you just got it right because you guessed it correct, I would say don't be happy about it. Just check it thoroughly, right? Where were you going wrong or at which point probably you made a mistake? That has to be checked. Third thing, two wrongs make a right. So many times that happens that you made a mistake in your question, then you made another mistake, and those two mistakes actually finally gave a right answer for this, right? And because of that, you got the right answer. That is also possible. Check that. If that has happened, you have to definitely work on that. And finally, the area that it belongs to, that also is important. You guys have to check that which area that question belongs to. Is it from your strength area? Is it from your weak area? If it is from your weak area, how did you get it right? Right? If it is from your strength area, could you, I mean, save some more time in that? कि आपको ज्यादा टाइम तो नहीं लग गया क्वेश्चन को करने में? So check for all those things if you have got your question right. This is about a question that you got right. Second, if you attempted the question wrong, what all things are to be checked? How much time you wasted on that question? Did you spend a lot of time before deciding? Oh, okay. Did you spend a lot of time and finally got it wrong? Right? What mistake did you make in the question? Can you check that? I mean, that all has to be checked. Was your mistake a calculation mistake? कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है you were doing it correct, but at some point you somehow wrote 10 into 6 as 16 rather than writing 60. This has happened with me many a times. Or probably you just interpreted it wrong, but you were going right. So there is nothing to lose heart at that stage. Okay, you got it right, but actually you made a silly mistake, but actually you were going in the right direction. This is something that should boost your confidence, right? Third thing, did you marked it wrong, right? Sometimes this happens, you got the answer as C, but C was written in option B or C was written in option A. That might be a mistake because of which you got it wrong, or probably you went wrong in the concept itself. ये भी तो हो सकता है कि आपने concept ही गलत use कर लिया. So that's also a possibility. So if you were using a wrong concept, so is that the possibility? So what has happened? Why did you get it wrong? You have to pay attention to this part as well कि आपका आंसर गलत क्यों आया, right? That is also something to be paid attention to. That also you guys have to see at that stage. And finally, at the end, I would say, what area does it belong to? Did you get it wrong because probably it was from your weak area, right? Okay, not to worry about it. Anyways, I know it is my weak area. And next time when I appear for the exam, I would check that. If it is from my weak area, probably I would not pick such a question, or I would double check it. If it is from your strength area, still you got it wrong, then there is something alarming. Check that question again. Where did you go wrong? So what mistake did you make? So if you are analyzing a question in which you went wrong, it should be a confidence booster for you. It should not be something that makes you more nervous. It should not be something that brings out your confidence. इसमें तो आपको देख के लगना चाहिए अरे यार मैं कर तो ठीक रहा था, कहीं मैंने मिस्टेक करी, क्या किया, वो सब चेक करना चाहिए था मेरे ख्याल से. Then you get to know about it. And finally, A question that you did not attempt. First, did you attempt waste some time on it? क्या आपने time लगाया उसके बाद you decided no, this is not a question to be done. Pay attention to that part. How can you minimize that time? Check that, right? Second thing, why did you leave? Now, this is something that only you can check in an analysis, and therefore, normally we say to all our students, analyze your paper within a day of writing the exam. Because within a day, you would be knowing that where were you, what were you thinking while doing this question? Why did you leave this question? Why did you pick this question? So, all those things would be there in your mind if you are actually checking that question just within a day of attempting. आपको सारा thought process याद हो. Okay, when I was doing it, I thought that it is from algebra, so I should leave it. But the question was very easy, right? So that might be a thing. So therefore, always just think of those things during the analysis. Third thing, was the question easy or difficult? If it was difficult, it was worth leaving. I did something good. But if it was easy and I left it just because it was lengthy, it was from the area which I don't like, it was from the area that I have not studied, then probably you have to pay attention to that part, right? It was lengthy, therefore you left it, should not be the case. Read it once, always, right? So make it a point from the next time that whenever you are appearing for the exam, you would at least read the question. You left the question just because it was not from your strong area. I always say that do not leave the basic concepts of any of the topics. सभी के basic concept तो करने ही चाहिए आपको. आप ताकि आप कोई question easy इसलिए ना छोड़ दो just because it was not from my strong area, right? Third thing that आपने question से ये सोच के छोड़ दिया ये तो difficult होगा, right? ये तो मुझे देख के ही difficult लग रहा है. No, that should not be the case. Always check that once. But do not spend too much time on a question. And finally, again check which area does it belong to. Is it from my strong area, weak area? That has to be checked. That's a very important part for all of you. That was an analysis from question wise perspective where you look at each and every question and you check what does happen over here. And then there is the second perspective as well, the overall mock analysis. एक बार आपने क्वेश्चन वाइज सारे चेक कर लिए, अब आप उसके बाद ओवरऑल चेक करेंगे. उसमें फर्स्ट थिंग इज यू चेक फॉर द सेक्शन वाइज एनालिसिस फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, राइट? In section number 1 in VARC, where did I go wrong? What strategy should I have adopted? Should I have started with RC? Should I have started with para jumbles? Did I do too many non-MCQs leniently because I thought that there is no negative marking in those, right? While doing RC, did I just leave a topic because it was too lengthy? RC बहुत लंबा था ये सोच के छोड़ दिया. तो कहाँ mistakes मैंने किए? So section wise strategy has to be taken care of. Similarly for LRDI, similarly for QA, which questions should I start with? Should I straight away start doing questions or should I first look at them and just decide which question I should have to start with? So all those things are to be done at the initial stage. Second, are you a balanced student or you are just a master of two of them? As I talked about this initially as well, there is a student who is getting equal score in all the three sections, or there is a student who is getting heavy scores in two of them but a decent score in the first one. So in that case, I would say just try to clear the sectional cutoff of all three of them according to your target percentile and then move with it. Third thing, does a section affect the next? I mean, this might be happening with many of us. My LRDI did not go well, so therefore completely screwed up my QA paper, but actually QA was very easy because my VARC went bad, so I actually did not do good in the other two sections. That happens with many of the students. Because one section goes bad, it happens with the other two. How do you deal with this? I would straight away say one thing, start doing sectional tests a lot. LRDI के 40 मिनट्स के बहुत सारे सेक्शनल टेस्ट कीजिए, क्वांट के 40 मिनट्स के बहुत सारे सेक्शनल टेस्ट कीजिए, VRC के भी, so that you can look at all three sections independently. Even if one section goes bad, you can think, okay, this section is something which is a different section. I can maximize my score now. I can maximize my score in QA. I can maximize my score in VRC. So those should look like to you three different sections of 40 minutes each. Next, concentration problem. That's a very common problem nowadays with the kids. In RCs, they are not able to concentrate. In LR, they are not able to concentrate. And therefore, many a times we tell students, do not start with RCs because initially, many of the students are not at the height of their concentration. So start with para jumbles, start with para completion, start with summary based questions and then move on to RC. Similarly, while doing LRDI, right? Some people say that, sir, when we are doing RC and immediately LRDI comes, our concentration is already at the peak, so we feel that LR is good for us. Some people feel no, it's a different section. So to get into the rhythm of it, we start with DI and then come to the LR. So it completely depends upon you what is going to suit you. But yes, this is an issue that you have to pay attention to. And lastly, you can't sit for too long hours, right? Now it is a 2-hour paper. When it was a 3-hour paper, it was a bigger problem with many of the students. Sir, हम तो 3 घंटे बैठ ही नहीं पाते. We can't even watch a 3-hour movie. How can we write the paper? 3 घंटे तक दिमाग भी तो लगा के रखना है. So you have to keep into the habit of it. Get into the habit of it. Write lot many mocks, right? Build that stamina of sitting for 2 hours in the exam. 2 hours are still doable. When it was 3 hours, it was very difficult for the students. For 2 hours, you should be able to do. I do not think there should be a problem to anyone. Okay. So that was the part from, from my side, guys. So how should you do the question-wise analysis? How should you do the overall mock analysis? This is something that I wanted to discuss with all of you. I'm sure that all of you have understood my point. If still you have any questions, you can come up with your questions. I would be happy to answer those questions. But yes, if you are preparing for CAT 2022, we have recently started our last batch in which we are taking a crash course. We are doing everything which is written on this page, though probably the number of sessions would be slightly less, would not be 135 plus. But yes, this is the last one that we are starting with. And do press the like button if you like the session, comment on it, right? Whatever you want from us, share it with more and more people and subscribe to BYJU'S Exam Prep channel. We are on all these media handles, guys. Okay. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, I would be happy to take all of your questions, guys. Otherwise, the session is over from my side. And at the end, I would repeat again, please make it a habit to analyze the papers well. The analysis is the most important part for any one of you. Analyze करेंगे तभी आप पेपर अच्छा कर पाएंगे. Otherwise, it would not be happening. Okay. When are you coming with sessions? Eagerly waiting. So we are taking sessions, Suraj. So nowadays I am little occupied with some other things as well. So therefore I'm taking lesser number of sessions. But yes, as soon as I'm free from that assignment, I would be taking more sessions here. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day then. That's all from my side. So have a good day. We'll meet again in the next session. Till then, bye bye and take care.